Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to episode 9 of the Stand and No podcast. It's just me, Steve, and Grupas on this one, telling some stories as usual. If you've ever listened to episode 7 or episode 1 of the podcast, then you know Grupas, you know it's going to be a good one. We actually recorded this one at the same time as episode 7, and we just went long and ended up with so much good content that we split it up into 2. And you know how at the end we say thank you for listening to episode whatever. Well, we didn't know we were going to do that, so we never got a recording of us saying thank you for listening to episode 9. So then when we had Kelly on it to record episode 8, we decided to record the outro for that one. Kelly does a bit of a goof where he pretends he's Grupas. You guys won't even notice a difference. He sounds that much like him. Either way, thank you for tuning in. Spread the word. We appreciate it.
Welcome to the Standing O podcast,
a Steve and Adam comedy project.
We know a little about most things and a lot about nothing.
It's because
the next day I drove him home and he had like his head out the window.
No.
And then we were in the elevator going up to our apartment and he's like breathing heavy. He's like, I am very close.
I'm
like,
in a bad way,
brother.
man.
It's the mugs,
Gonna
and
get some
then
loaded
And then he
nachos
goes,
and
I'm
rocks.
never having a Vegas bomb again. I was like, 1, that's a lie. 2, it was the like 90 beers you had. It wasn't the like 2 Vegas bombs.
he started the day with those.
He went to
the narwhals.
Narwhals,
Those,
yeah.
and then the mugs and the Vegas bombs.
Yeah.
The
all
problem
mixed
is the
together.
Vegas bombs, it's not that they get you that drunk, it's they get you in the mood to drink
to drink more. That's a fair.
Yeah,
They
so it's
really
like
do.
if you didn't get all the caffeine and the excitement from those,
You wouldn't be drinking
you'd
as
tire
much, yeah.
out and you'd let off the gas and your
Yeah.
beer level
You'd
would go down.
plateau.
Yeah, exactly. Plateau. That's the word I'm looking for.
Speaking of Sam, I have one other thing I want to bring up. This
Okay.
So me and Sam, two just fellows, just bros
Two
living
cool
together.
dudes living together.
How do you, when we go to bed at night, should we be saying good night to each other? Because we don't, and because it's weird if you do. We did it like once, and we're like, well, that's never gonna happen. That was it's like, well, that was the weirdest thing that's ever happened.
No, I thought
feel
that-
like I got intimate. And I just
Like we
said
tuck
good
each
night.
other in every night.
It's
but we don't say
100.
goodnight.
Yeah, because then it's weird because we go to the same bed.
Yeah, and I feel like this is only a guy thing. So like the one
No, it's
female
100%
listener
a
you
guy
have,
thing.
like she's like, "What are you
Yeah.
talking about?" But like for guy, like, I'm just like usually a good thing is we usually have like a Blues or a Cardinal game on,
So,
and usually
like-
one person's like, "All right, I'm gonna finish the game in my room," and the other one's like,
See,
Okay.
I think
It's
the
like
one
there's
says,
nothing.
"All right, you can say I'm gonna go to bed," and then the other just doesn't say anything.
"Yeah, that's."
And they go,
pretty
"All
much how it
right,
goes."
see ya.
Yeah,
Maybe see ya."
because you can't also say like
You
"see you
can't say-
tomorrow" because it's
can't
like
say-
you're not leaving. You're on the same.
And it's not like "see you tomorrow" makes it sound like it's like vacation, like big day tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm just like it's such a conundrum being like, what? How do we end?
No, I every once in a while I never gave out a good night, but every once in a while, living in college, having roommates, I would always think that every once in a while, like I'm not gonna say Sam said it, I don't know who. I want to say Joe or Kel, everyone
Yeah.
wants to have good night, and it was probably like
me and my roommates all said night dog. Night dog.
So make a little
Night
joke
dog.
of it.
That's,
Like, is
and we
maybe
did it
the
every
I like
night.
that.
Yeah.
So maybe
That's-
bring that back
that's-
to
yeah.
Sam. Night dog.
Night dog.
Plus,
Like that's simple. It's
Night
It's
dog.
simple. It's
That's-
Night dog's
that's
what they call me in high
good
school.
night. It's like the most intimate thing.
Good
you
night
can say
is
to
so
another
intimate.
man.
that's like the friendly of honks.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It really is. That's funny. Yeah, no, I don't say like good night until like 4 months into the relationship.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm like, we
You
have
say
to
it's
have
our-
done
it's our wedding
everything
night,
else.
and
If we're
that's
saying
when I'll
goodnight-
say-
Put a ring on this finger.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that and then like there was a girl that I dated, not current girlfriend, but that I dated a while ago that like early in the relationship, like 3 or 4 dates in, start saying have a good day at work, and I'm like, that's fucking
This
some-
is a little too fast.
I love Lucy shit. I'm like, you leave that out of there. Don't bring that to me. Have a good day at work. I'm like, Jesus Christ, only my mom's supposed to say that to me.
And lady, know your boundaries.
Exactly. Me, you, and Sam were talking about wearing condoms, and I know me and Sam were saying, oh yeah, I was always worried about getting a girl or catching an STD, and you're like, really? I was worried about getting a girl pregnant, and I was like, really? I was much more worried about STDs, and you're like, yeah, obviously with the bottom feeders you guys bring home, and it's one of the funniest insults you've ever gotten me with. I was just like, I have nothing. I'm like, that's a fact. You should see some of those broads.
That is a good line.
That's a good roast.
Really good.
It's just fellow kings just.
Yeah, no, just some kings hashing it out over the broads, you know. We also talked about my my apartment in Washington.
Oh man, dude, they need to put that in like the Hall of Fame of apartments.
That was
Washington D.C. right next to the big white.
Yeah.
You probably
the White House.
He actually rented out the East Wing of the White House.
Though no, when I lived in Washington, Missouri for like a year or so. But yeah, it was great. I remember for a while I was going back and forth to live in Washington or live somewhat close, and like then I'm at like 25 minutes from work, like 35 from people, and I'm like, regardless, my apartment's going to be the inconvenient one to go to. I'm like, why not be closer to work and make it more convenient for my day-to-day? And then when you guys do come out, then it's like you pack a bag like it's a weekend thing. Everyone's for sure spending the night because you're, an hour plus maybe away from home, and it's more fun. So we would get hammered at that apartment. But also because nobody visited, I wasn't dating anyone when I first moved out there, and so I never hung up anything on the walls.
Oh, I remember that. It looked like you were squatting in
You guys start calling it the asylum. You're like, it's just unmarked white walls.
Yeah,
everywhere.
It was everywhere.
It 100. No, I started thinking about it. I'm like,
it was the least homey looking thing in the world.
It was such like the meme of like guys living or have their living room like this and think it's okay.
It's like a lawn chair. Yeah.
Because like I had a big like. Not recliner, so it wasn't a lazy boy, but that big style of chair, and like that was my gaming chair, and it was just like in the corner in my monitors on a TV tray, and then I just have the couch and like no coffee table or anything, no end tables or anything, and yeah, I just had a bunch of like pictures and posters all like sitting in the corner of the guest room that I didn't use, and it wasn't until like the fifth time you guys of me like roasting me for that, and I'm like, I probably should. Put them up. I'm like, it's a certain amount of
it's
like.
It's not that you didn't have things to hang up.
Exactly. I'm like, I have things. I can just throw them on the wall. Like it was like movie posters and like college shit. But still, I was like, well, nobody's coming out here, and that's a perfect like married dad energy of when they're not getting banged anymore, and so they let themselves go. I'm like, nobody's looking at it. I'm like, it's only for me.
Did you ever put anything up?
Yeah, no. I eventually like put stuff up, and there was even times that like. A lovely lady or someone would come over and they're like, this is a weird
and they realized they were lost and they made a wrong turn.
they're like it's really weird because they would also bring up they're like
text my parents, tell them where I'm at.
Like I just turned on my location, I just figured you should know. There is side thing. There was one time I was on a Tinder date with a girl and I wanted to bring up the fact that like it's like kind of awkward and like you don't want to tell your friends before the Tinder date because then like most Tinder dates are horrible.
Yep.
And then because then they're gonna be like, how was it? And you're like, fucking horrible, and like if it's bad, you don't want to talk about it. You're like, oh, it was awkward. She sucked. She was a racist and called me fat and banged my mom and it didn't go well.
And that was just last Tuesday.
Exactly, and that happened all in one. And I didn't mind that she was racist, but who's gonna bang my mom? Come on, why would you do that?
That's just rude, yeah.
But. And so, like, I remember, and I forget how I brought it up, but it was somewhere along the lines of, like, did you tell people what you're doing tonight? Like, where you are? And I'm like, nope, not asking if anyone knows your whereabouts. You know what?
That's a weird,
We'll just get the check. I'm just going to call it here.
Yeah, that's the most serial killer vibe you could give off.
Yeah, Didn't go well. What are you going to do, But anyways, and girls would say they were like, this is the weirdest apartment because they're like, it's so like undecorated and like trashy looking, but like really organized. And they're like anally organized. Yeah. And I'm like, I just like I don't like things being messy. I like things to be in the convenient, practical places.
So you have like a dishes all there,
that shit. Like I always was good with my dishes and it was always clean.
You've always been like an inefficient person,
exactly. It's about efficiency and not about decoration. Decorations, that's just extra. I'm like, I don't need that. Since then, I've come around, and I very much enjoy having good shit on the walls of my apartment. But for a while, I was like, this is a self-worth thing. I think I need to put these things on the wall just to show, like, hey, I have a personality and stuff, right?
I remember in college, I texted like the whole group one time. I said, don't worry, I got decorations for the house this coming fall.
Whole semester, I'm decorating. You guys don't get a say.
I went to Goodwill and I found It was 10 feet wide.
Also,
and it was-
wait,
Did you not already have the
I have
decorations?
the same question.
I don't remember.
When-
I probably already
That's
had
a
them.
crazy.
No,
idea.
no,
You
I
had
probably,
something good to put up.
I probably already
And
had
then
them.
you're like,
The
guys, I have
confidence
it.
to go, I got us handled. I don't have it
And
yet.
then you go to Goodwill.
But I'm pretty good.
And then you
I'm
go
pretty
to
good at
Goodwill.
finding stuff.
It was probably the opposite way. Flip-flop.
Okay.
So I don't always tell my stories in chronological order, but with
Yeah, yeah.
whatever sounds
Yeah,
best.
it's like
Was the hook first?
It might
That's all that matters.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know if it really
You-
was.
You pulled us in.
But anyways, so it was 10 feet wide and it was 2 feet tall, and it was a history of the entire world. And there was just like a timeline on it.
Oh, yeah.
So it was 10 feet wide, but if you print out like a piece of paper and you use size 6 font, it was like that. You had to stand an inch away from it to read this thing.
The whole world.
Like everything that's ever happened.
Wild.
Just big moments.
Yeah.
And I would say I read it one time all the way through, and it took me like 3 hours.
I would count it as a book at that point.
Yeah.
It really was. It was just on the wall, and it wasn't
And you
even
had
like,
to be standing, I assume, and you just.
Yeah, you look like you're at a
over.
museum.
and it,
Yeah,
it didn't even like look that cool. Like it was
That's-
just like it was like yellow with black letters, and there was like a couple cool pictures on it, but they were real small.
Could have been one of those like you were in a good mood the day you bought it, and then you kind of, and then you're like, well, this was actually kind of an average.
Yeah, this was a little ridiculous.
No, but we had it there for 2 years. Back wall in the living room.
That's fun. I'm sure you remember the story because I know you were for sure there. I don't know who else was there, but we were at the lake and we were all drinking in the water. And you know the neighbor's dock right next to you. They had the 2 dogs.
Yeah.
You remember the story at all?
Ooh,
The 2 dogs started like nipping at each other, and right when I say, "Hey guys, look, they're fighting," they start humping each other, and you guys all look over, see the dogs humping. You're like, "Adam, that's not fighting."
Adam's a virgin.
Adam, you don't know what sex is. And I'm like, guys, come on, peas in the balls, and you got to pee in the girl's butt. I know how it all works.
You gotta pee in the girl's butt.
And I'm like, that was embarrassing.
That was
I'm like,
funny.
it was a fairly small group,
yeah.
but I'm like, the fact that if that would have happened in like high school or like grade school, because then there's an
Or
actual
even
probability.
like a different group than like your friends. where
Yeah.
you're like,
Then there's a real probability that I don't know what sex is.
Yeah.
Because halfway through high school, I probably didn't. You know.
When Adam lost his virginity, he went to like abuse counseling for 2 years.
I know. I was like, what happened?
I
in
surely
there?
didn't do that. Yeah.
Did I do something wrong?
Let me tell you, things really got off the rails quickly.
She never even let me pee in her butt. I don't know what the deal is. I feel like I did something wrong. But yeah, at least there was like a closer group, but still, I was like, this is really devastating. That's not how I wanted that to go at all.
Yeah, that's tough.
There's also a chance I might have a real busy day this Saturday. Yule bought a house, so congrats to Yule, in like Kirkwood or something area. So
Yeah.
with a bunch of rich people.
Lovely.
But either way, yeah, so he bought a house, so he's moving on Saturday, and I didn't know he was moving, so I'm hoping he's got all the help he's need, because then I just texted him on like Tuesday or Monday, and I was like, hey, heard you're actually moving this weekend. I'm free for, I said like a big chunk of Saturday. So like, I'm offering to help, but really,
I'm
find
not
some, a big chunk of the day, I'd have to move my schedule around, so we'll see what he says. He never responded, so he might have just took that as like, you don't have to help, man. But he's helped me the last like 3 times because he's a fucking great guy. So I gotta at least offer, throw my head in the ring.
He's probably like, how much strength does Adam really
That's
provide
also
him?
kind of a thing. Is like I could use Yule's help. I don't know how much Yule could use my help. Is the thing.
Yeah.
He's
Hey, can you take these small handbags?
Yeah, you don't have like a truck even.
yeah.
Like,
Can you
that could
help
be, like-
Lydia carry her craft section? She's got some linens that need moved. Be careful with them.
In the box of towels.
Yeah. We can you move the coasters and the hand towels?
And you
Thanks.
screw that up even.
Yeah. I broke all the towels. I dropped them.
And when we're walking down the stairs,
broke
we're
the
gonna
towels.
we're gonna need you to tell us, like, maybe just like stand behind and like
Yeah.
supervise. That'd be.
And say
You could be so whenever someone's carrying something, the door guy. The guy
Yeah.
that's
Oh
opening
yeah,
That's always a fun
that
thing.
guy's
That
really
could be-
important.
that guy
That
is
guy's
important.
very
That
important.
could
Really
be you.
important.
Because
Yeah.
he
The door guy
sometimes
is-
has to like
is
help
important.
maneuver the thing around the door
Right, yeah.
frame.
Yeah.
You'd be a perfect.
You're talking to a door guy, right?
You're
a door.
if it's us 3, you're the door guy.
Yeah, I
If
think
it's
but if
most
it's-
people, I'm the door guy.
Well,
That's true, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying in us 3 because I'm not the biggest guy. I mean, you're all right, but you're not the biggest guy.
Yeah.
And but yeah, you're the door guy usually. I don't mind being the door guy. I'd love to be the door guy. I'd be a great door guy.
I'm a good door guy. It's all about keeping the confidence up.
Well, I'm
at
sure
all
with,
times.
like you were
Come
talking
on,
about.
we're almost there.
Exactly.
See, it's not just opening the door. There's
There's
like
an
you
art
said.
to this.
Come
There's an
on,
art
we're
to
almost there, which is a good thing to say by the guy who's not lifting anything.
And
We're almost there.
being like, man, it's hot out today. It's like that's not helping.
You guys are really loving this, aren't you?
God, if you guys had a water at any time, it is hot.
I am cramping.
And it's getting kind of drafty because I'm like
When are
in
we ordering
between like the
pizzas?
air conditioning
Yeah.
and the outside, and it's kind of gross
Oh, yeah.
outside.
Well, you said when you do projects with like your family, your brother and dad handle it.
Oh,
And
yeah,
you're just
yeah.
like, you need the screwdriver? I can go get it.
Yep, yeah,
You're quick to help, but like,
Also, another important guy.
yeah, another
very
important
much so.
guy. Yeah.
My favorite thing ever. My sister took a time lapse of us taking down our old like little treehouse thing in the backyard.
Oh, that'd be fun.
And we were taking it down because it was just like an eyesore at this point. We weren't using it anymore. And me, my dad, and
Smash
my
it?
brother went out there, and it took us like 2 hours. And the whole time, I am just standing behind them with my hands on my back, with my hands on my back, and I would walk from each side. And every once in a while, I'd pick up one piece of wood and set it down behind me, and that was it.
You'd say careful every now and then.
I'll ask my
Careful,
sister if we can get that time lapse.
That would
because
be
It
great.
is so.
Yeah.
It's
That
probably on her
is
Facebook,
gold.
to be honest with you,
Yeah.
or something from years ago.
Yeah.
But it is hilarious, and it pretty much sums up my work ethic when it comes to like, do I absolutely have to help?
I'm starting to realize that with standing out. And I'm like, I'm doing a lot of things, and you're like, you're doing great. And I'm like, sometimes I need that.
Yeah, sometimes you know what, and that's
But I'm not actually doing that because it's like the stuff that like you're doing behind the scenes. So like,
Yeah.
it's just like,
You're like texting me, great work on the video. And I'm like, that's all I need every once in a while.
Yep.
You know?
That's-
And
that- that's-
I hope you're standing
that's-
like
that's why I
you
tell
should, you
you-
should send the picture of Forrest Gump standing like that just with great work. And I'm like, thanks, bud.
that's how it's gonna go. We should go all in and set up a podcast in a TGI Fridays booth.
That'd be great.
I'm sure we
And there's
got to
stories
know.
about Allen Iverson whenever he was getting inducted to the Hall of Fame that he regularly I didn't say that right, but like 20 grand he would blow at a TGI Fridays. Like he
That's
loved
awesome.
TGI Fridays. It went blow just.
Is that the one where there's
massive
a
amounts.
quote of him blowing $20,000 with strippers at TGI Fridays?
Yeah, I think
and
it's just like what.
and like
you
his
are-
actual quote is like, no, or like, yeah, it was at TGI Fridays, but there weren't any strippers there, unless I brought them, in which case there were probably
There were-
strippers. there. It's like, okay,
You probably
you
did, yeah.
bring
Who is this,
$20,000 worth of
What?
Who is this?
Allen
yeah,
Iverson.
AI?
you bring $20,000 worth of strippers to TGI Fridays so often that you forget when
yeah.
you did that. Did I do that time? I can't remember if the strippers were
Also,
with me
you're
then.
the only person that's ever brought a stripper to TGI. Like, if the
TGI
story
Fridays.
involves a stripper, it's you. Like,
Yeah, there's only one. He's like, you sure it was me? And it's like,
Yeah.
who else would it be? Oh, I sent out that Snapchat of the Rorschach test looking thing. It was
Yeah, I saw that.
it was a hippo's kiss. They put paint on a hippo's nose and put it up against the painting, and so it looked like an abstract Rorschach test. And I made a goof about and Sarah said this with the Rorschach test. You know, it's obviously a fourth grader finally getting to play catch with his dad, even though, you know, and a whole thing about
This whole yeah.
just made up a whole story about me. And Dan Boroff said, really? All I see is ducks. It's always ducks for me. And I
good
fucking died laughing at that. I'm like, that's so much funnier than what I just worked like an hour to make. I was sitting there thinking of that caption for so long. And
I thought yours was pretty good though.
people seem to enjoy it. But then he said, I just see ducks. It's always ducks for me. And I'm like, that's hilarious.
That's a great response.
Yeah, so I figured to give him a little shout out on the pod. Find out if he's listening too. That's a good thing. You name drop someone on the pod. Like last week, we talked about you a whole bunch.
I know. I was listening to it and I was like, there was like 5 incidents where I was brought up. I was like,
Which one of the last things I got written down here, and what we wanted to talk about you with is our natural deodorants.
yeah, I'm a fan.
Yes,
And,
we want to hear about
Do
it.
you guys not use?
So I switched to it's like, I think it's Everyman Jack, something like that.
So I've used that. I bought that at like Target or something. But I use Tom's mostly.
I've used Tom's before.
Tom's are also my toothpaste.
I've
that's
used
what
Tom's
that is.
deodorant
Yeah.
before.
It doubles as toothpaste and deodorant.
Well, I mean, yeah. I, mean,
I didn't like the deodorant much, to be honest with you.
I don't like either. Like I have also a regular like Old Spice when it's like, all right, we're going out or something. It's like
Yeah.
this needs to actually work.
I strictly use the Everyman Jack now.
I have 2 deodorants. I have a natural one, and then I have one that works
Yeah.
when I need it.
I strictly use the Everyman Jack now, and it works for me. Now. But
So when
go on.
when I started using it, it would make my armpits burn. And I thought, because they're aluminum free and natural shit, so I thought either I was allergic to the natural thing or like whatever substitute they're using for aluminum.
Yep.
And then I just bought an Old Spice non-antiperspirant, and that made my armpits burn, but I just like dealt with it.
Yeah.
And it like has dissipated and now gone away. So like my armpits were addicted to the aluminum.
To the jeez.
And I'm like, that's wild. How long? Because I used to sweat like the Dickens.
Yeah, I'm not.
So
a big
I think
sweater.
I was like eating aluminum for breakfast and shit, you know, like
Yeah.
trying to like stop sweating, and got it under control a little bit apparently. But now I'm allergic to it. But now I'm excited because now that I've weaned myself off my aluminum addiction, now I can go back to Everyman Jack, which I enjoyed. And I was gonna go to one of those fancy cold pressed bars of soap that you see all the ads about.
yeah.
Dr.
Buff
Squatch.
City's soap? Are you talking about? Because that's
Buff
like
City's
soap.
one. There's one. It's like Cold Stone or something, maybe.
You like make your.
That's
the
ice
soap.
cream, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, not the one.
Yeah,
say.
did you say cold?
He said Cold Stone.
Cold.
Yeah, that's ice cream.
Yeah. There's one that's cold something.
There's like a Dr.
cold-
Squatch or something.
Dr.
too.
Squatch is the one I see a lot of, and now they're gonna hit us up for an ad. You know, Dr.
Yeah.
Squatch.
Yeah.
And
You could use the business.
I'll shower on the pod.
We gotta
and
be
use
more
it.
like manly. Like those are all like the ads are
Yeah.
like stirred at men.
I
Have
don't
you
know.
noticed that?
Smith and Wesson.
Did you see our Monster Mall commercial?
You're
telling me
right.
that wasn't manly?
We
That was
are
wild.
some men.
Though I was gonna get one, and I needed a bar of soap, and like my thing was almost out, and Sarah was going to the store, and I was like, had just gotten back from working out, and I was like, hey, would you mind grabbing a bar of soap? And I didn't tell her just buy one because then I'm gonna order
Yep.
the shit I want, and she bought a 6-pack. And I'm
Oh,
like, no.
That's 6 years.
I know.
That's 6
I'm like,
years gone.
that's gonna last me forever. I'm like, I don't know how long this is gonna last me, but we'll see. I should have wrote down the date just to then I can work
Because
on
you
my soap
literally
budget.
see how. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I recently just discovered that Everyman Jack stuff isn't aluminum free, because when
it is or isn't.
it is
Okay.
Yeah.
because when I started it, the same thing was happening to me. I just
Mm-hmm.
like manned through it. Was that a fart
That was
in
my
your stomach?
That was,
There's
like,
no way
weird.
the mic picked up on it, but you were nervous it was.
It was my stomach though, and I was like, that was louder than anything.
If you would have just tilted the mic down to your stomach.
I had no idea what I thought that was. I didn't know. I thought it was a ghost.
That's why, so I don't have the armpit sweating problem. My stomach growls. I don't know if I just don't eat enough. My stomach growls. Like, I'm
Yeah, I don't
like
think
at
that's a
work on
deodorant
Zoom,
thing.
like, and it's just like, son, I'm gonna mute myself. Like this is insane. Problem.
You're growling over the Zoom. I hate a Zoom growl.
Or like, Alex, can you mute yourself again? Your stomach is picking up.
When's lunch?
Yeah.
You're just like snacking.
Dude, just go eat.
You have to stay in shape because like that same attitude on like a super like fat looking person,
Yeah.
it'd be like, Jesus Christ, how often do you think about food?
Right.
So
yeah,
like
for me.
that's tough. That's really funny though. Can you mute your mic? I don't sweat anymore, but like in high school I would sweat. It just was
Yeah.
everywhere. You
So
know?
like, so I work from home. I don't even wear like I don't wear deodorant. Just like because I'm at home. Like, why
Yeah,
would I be-
exactly. Like if
Like,
I'm
I go to
not
the gym, obviously.
if I'm not leaving the house or it's not
Yeah.
like an all day thing. Like when
Yeah.
I get home from working out at like 6, I'm not gonna put deodorant
Right, yeah,
to
you're
be
just-
awake from 6 to 10 in my own house. You know, unless I'm trying to put the moves on Sarah and I need to put on my Old Spice, throw on some Axe. Never know. She doesn't like me.
Do you have Axe still? No. I was like, wow.
That would be funny though.
He does with Monster Mall though.
Imagine some guy that like he thought like, well, I use Axe. That's what we use. Like that is a crazy move.
That was
Since
just like his
sixth grade,
go-to
like, you used
brand.
It,
I think if like David, I don't think it would ever happen. Like if say we're on vacation, he like forgot deodorant and we're like running to get like beer or
Yeah.
something. He's like, hey, if they got, I'd buy him Axe for sure.
but oh yeah, just, yeah.
And just Axe spray and be like, you're gonna smell like this. No.
like I smell like a middle school boy. Yeah.
Yeah, you smell like someone who doesn't know what sex is like. So like me in junior year of high school, with the dogs on the
You
dock.
last week. Yeah.
That's what we call a callback.
You know, I wish they might sell more if they like advertised it as such.
I read a thing that like they got affiliated accidentally through marketing with Insecure Men, and they were
I
never
can
able to
believe it,
like
'cause it
they
was
were
like
never
the-
able to like shake that. It was a whole thing about like people who got branded a certain way in marketing and like it like hindered their ability to like expand because like we're goofing
like they
about them
took
right now.
themselves way too seriously. It's like you're selling deodorant.
And they
Let's
made all the
relax.
jokes. There was always like a scrawny looking, like nerdy looking
Yeah.
dude about like feeling confident. So then it just started Like, it was all the hubbub for, like, probably, yeah, like you were saying, like, 6th grade probably, I feel like, is when it came out. And then, like, by, like, high school, it was, like, disappeared for the most part, you know. I mean, I'm sure it's still on the shelves and stuff. The conspiracy podcast, you got the giggles to spot. With the conspiracy podcast we did with Sam, I was having to cut so much at the end that I cut all of our octopi talk out. And did you notice I just left us saying I cut every time we said octopi? And the last 15 seconds are just us going octopi, 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 octopi. Because that to me was funnier than the whole conversation about octopi. Because we were burnt out by the end. I didn't know actually anything about them besides.
Have you seen the documentary My Octopus Teacher? It's on Netflix.
Yes.
It's pretty recent. It is amazing.
No, I haven't seen it, but I've heard it talked about.
It's up for like best documentary for like the Academies.
Isn't it?
So it's about like some dude that literally just films the same octopus.
Is it
for
sad?
365 days. I mean, at the end.
I was like, I don't want to spoil it. I'm like, but I feel like the one thing I remember hearing about it is
it's like in
sad.
this kelp forest, so it's like these amazing like underwater shots. It is just a good documentary.
Wild. That's cool.
That sounds phenomenal.
Yeah. You guys got anything else you want to talk about?
I probably did, but I didn't think of anything else.
People be on the lookout for the song of the summer. It's coming soon.
Do you guys want to talk about any current events going on?
Current events.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know anything that's going on ever.
We're pulling troops out of Afghanistan. Let's get into that.
There's a bunch of really cool protest stuff going on, some cop shootings. If you guys would like to break that down,
I think that'd be good for a comedy podcast.
Yeah, let's just break that down. Here's what I think about the protest, and we're just gonna end the podcast that way. Come listen to us.
Yeah, I guess there's really nothing funny to talk about with what's going on in the world at all.
That's why we're here. You know, don't turn on your news. Turn on us. Good on.
To spread some cheer.
Turn us on.
Spread some
Become
cheer.
an idiot. Listen to us.
Yeah. Around when all the seltzers first started coming out, I saw an ad for Keystone was making a like cranberry and lime beer, like not a cranberry and lime seltzer. And I'm like, I don't know who could manage that, but Keystone's not it.
Where's the market for that? Who's like, you know what?
I'm like,
cranberry lime.
Nobody's
like you've cornered that market.
Yeah,
good, but
exactly. If it ends up being the new
that?
thing, but yeah, and I never saw them, and I looked like every time. Because I was like, I'm getting these. Because I'm a fan of Keystone. Like, I don't love it, obviously. It's not better than Bud Light or almost any beer. But in college, when we would be drinking Natty or Busch or, like, you know, God forbid, Hams or something.
I'd rather have Hams over Keystone.
Really? I'd rather have Keystone
over
all the...
I don't like
Keystone
it, but I
is
like Keystone. I really do not like Keystone.
I hate Hams. Keystone's a bottom tier beer,
like
but I put it at
Keystone
the
Ice?
top. I don't know if I've actually ever had
Oh,
Keystone.
I've had it. Keystone Ice are brutal.
That sounds even.
Yeah, that sounds rough.
Worse than what are the other ones? Bud Ice?
Bud Ice, yeah.
Natty Ice, too. They have those.
Yeah, Natty.
I love the Natty Ice
What is
Tall
the,
Boys
what
or
is
the
ice
Natty
thing?
Daddies.
What is that
Natty
supposed to
Daddies.
do? Is that just like the lower form?
No, it's higher alcohol.
Or fatty natties.
But I've been drinking these.
But it's hilarious that like Bud Light's like it's higher alcohol, meaning it's more expensive. Let's advertise it as platinum. We'll get people to buy it, and other people are like, no, we're not gonna do that. Just gonna add ice at the end. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, it's just it means.
Let it market itself. They'll do whatever they want with it.
I look at it like it's pretty self-explanatory. It's
not at all.
At least self-explanatory.
But yeah, I loved Natty Daddies. I mean, they don't taste good, but they're fun to say. We call them natural fathers as well. That's fun
I call
to
them
say.
fatty natties, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because that's what they are. They're fatty natties.
But there's ones that actually say Natty Daddy on it. Because they're hot. They're like the Natty Ice
those
and
are the
Natty
ones.
Tall
Like the
Boys.
chubby.
Yes. I was thinking of the brown bottle natural lights.
Those
that's
are
what I was
fun,
thinking
too.
you were talking
Yeah.
about. I call those fatty natties.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
That's exactly what they are.
Your brain was wrong, but it still ended up being pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
It still works.
which is the story of your life.
Yep. Your brain was wrong, but it still worked out. Thank you for listening to episode 9 of Grupas. Would you give me a second to talk since Grupas is here?
Yes. Yeah, that's Grupas.
Sorry, Grupas interrupted me. Thank you for
Grupas,
listening
you
to
asshole.
Grupas isn't here. We recorded this after.
I'm chiseled.
Also, Grupas of the douche. Always talking about how chiseled he is. It's a classic Grupas move. All right, thanks for listening to episode 9. Take it easy, nerds.
We appreciate it.
That was really funny. You're going, I'm chiseled. Look, I'm Grupas.
just what we need. A Jewish princess.